Good evening. I'm Wayworn Worm, and welcome to day 6 of the week of streaming. And today we are going to be playing a different game. We're going to be playing Fate of the World. It is I think this is like a 6 or 7 year old game now. I think it came out in 2011. And it's essentially about climate change. We'll get to that video that just started in a second. And some really awesome science behind it, and basically we play a global initiative that has various goals, and just a really well researched game. But the main reason why I'm playing this, it's not to try and force some sort of agenda or anything. I'm actually going to do my best to sidestep all of the politics that are inherent in this choice of game. It's a really hard resource management game, and that's what I like the most about it. It is very, very difficult. So let's start a new game. And we are going to do Earth Day. All regions start with green outlook. What if on Earth Day 2020, everyone in the whole world commits to sustainable prosperity for all? With national outlooks aligned, can you keep the Earth cool? And I win if I can make it to 2200 with global warming below 3 degrees. And I lose if the Global Human Development Index falls below a certain number. If I get banned from 7 or more regions, warming is 3 degrees or above in 2200. Or if I create a GEO headquarters and I lose control of the region that I put that in. This is the one that I've been playing the most. It is hard. I don't know if I'm going to win. But let's get into this real quick. And we already have one person watching, and welcome to that one person. Sure, we'll be President Jameson, and we will be addressed as Sir. And I will just let this text exist and won't read it. Okay. So we start in 2020, and every turn is 5 years. And so, as you saw from that introduction, and as I said, this game is from like 2011. So the Paris Agreement or Accord or whatever you want to call it hadn't happened yet. So in this alternate universe, it didn't happen. And it might be best just to look at this game as an alternate universe, because it if that's what you prefer, for political reasons, because again, I am going to avoid those. And the news is the world has reached 1 degree of warming over pre-industrial levels. Expect an increase in disasters and permanent region change. And the global population is 7.315 billion. So the first thing I need to do is recruit agents. And for every agent I have, I can recruit, or I can play 1 card in that region. So I'm going to go with Northern Africa, Southern Africa, India, the Middle East, for sure. Then we're going to do China, North America, Europe, Russia, Japan. I think we have enough to solidly get 1 everywhere. Excellent. Here in North America, we are going to start with the Tobin tax. Create a tax on financial transactions, with all monies raised over the cost of collection going to the GEO, which I am the head of. It raises my money, but I have less support. But money is going to be a big thing in this game, and it is the main resource that is hard. In Latin America, I am going to start with protecting land, soil, and forests, negotiate the suspension of deforestation in Latin America, and encourage reforestation, also reduce emissions in agriculture through better land use and farming practices. This is going to protect the Amazon. And we'll go into the ridiculously huge amount of data this game has to show me in a minute for why I'm doing what I'm doing. Oh, there's some news in Europe. Agriculture resources undersupplied and industry resources undersupplied. We're going to do the Tobin tax here. Northern Africa, we're going to create a political office, enable direct intervention in Northern Africa as needed to further GEO objectives. So with Northern Africa, Southern Africa, the Middle East, and India, they have the lowest stability. So if we do a political office this turn, we can start military and or police actions to just buoy their stability before helping them with other things. So that is what we're going to be doing there and here. And Russia, we're also going to give Russia the Tobin tax. And Russia is turning to gas. In response to fuel shortages in the energy sector, regional governments in Russia are increasingly adapting gas-fired power stations to satisfy their demands. The Middle East is doing a political office. India is doing a political office. China... What news? China has agriculture resources undersupplied. What do we want to do here? Um, Direct China to expand renewable power across solar, hydro, geothermic, wind, and tidal until it reaches capacity for each. Committing to nuclear, maximize nuclear energy production in China using best available technologies. Moves energy mix towards nuclear fission. I'm thinking we're going to look at their stats really quick. Okay, so what potential do they have for renewable? Massive solar potential, small hydro potential, large wind potential, small geothermal potential, small tidal potential, no biomass potential, and massive fusion potential. So let's get them working on committing them to renewable. Renewables are very slow, so we're going to be playing this card for a long time, and that $50 dollar price tag. This is our money up here. That we're going to be hit by that every single turn. In South Asia, we're going to protect land, soil, and forests. This is something that we're going to eventually have everyone do. I'm just trying to remember at the moment, and I will double check in a second, just where the most deforestation is happening. In Oceania, we're going to have them do the Tobin tax. And same with Japan. And going here, because there's a bunch of things we can check out in the agent recruitment thing, as well as here's a data overview of the entire world. And see, show previous reports. We don't have any of that. Open the wiki and have the main menu. We're actually going back into here and we're checking the annual change in forests. So North America is currently having a plus. Latin America is having a huge minus. Europe and all of Africa and the Middle East are having smallish minuses. Same thing with Russia. China's having a plus. India's having a small plus. Southeast Asia's having a large minus. Japan's having a tiny minus. And Oceania's having a small minus too. So we did very well having Latin America and Southeast Asia start with reforestation. I'm going to recruit in one more person in each of the Africas, as well as North America and Europe. So in Africa, we're going to start with an environmental protection agency in both northern and southern. And if we look into here, we can see data for that region, and Northern Africa and Southern Africa start with a lot of similarities, which is why I'm doing the same thing in both. Yeah. And then in North America, we are... you know what? We're going to create a coal-free industry in North America. And let's look at Europe. Europe, we're going to do cap and trade on carbon emissions. We have $128 left, and it's not saved up between turns, so we might as well keep doing stuff. Put another person in India and another person in China. That leaves us with 28. I don't think we'll be able to do much of anything. Let's create a regional welfare office here in India. Okay, ending our first turn. And temperature has risen, and basically if we do nothing at 2100, it will be here at the current trend, and 2200 it will be here. And remember, when I actually hit 2200, it has to be no higher than here. Though I think I can go over if I go back down. It increased by 1/10 of a degree in the last 5 years. And emissions are going up. GEO Energy Analysis has confirmed that global oil production is falling. Rise in Arctic methane reporting. Melting ice and permafrost in the Arctic region is resulting in large quantities of methane constantly being released from the seabed and newly exposed wetlands, resulting in an increased greenhouse effect. The global population grew by 270 million. We're now at over 7.5 billion people, and impact death toll 1 million. So 1 million people have died because of this temperature. Advanced drilling breakthrough. Scientists in Europe have announced the groundbreaking discovery of advanced drilling techniques, facilitating greater exploitation of fossil fuels and increasing geothermal power potential. Okay. So, any of these green ones, their annual emissions have increased by less than the expected increase. The reds increased more. Like India increased by 19% when it expected 17. Southern Africa went 1% over expected. Latin America, increased by 0, falling below the expected increase of 10%. North America, it increased by 2% when falling below the expected increase of 2%. Europe decreased by 8%, and they expected to have no change. Northern Africa, it increased by 11, which was below the expected increase of 13. We already did Southern Africa. Russia didn't increase, and they expected an increase of 7. Middle East, Oceania decreased by 2% when there was an expected increase of 1. South Asia, wow, increased by 29% when they expected 14. China increased by 9 instead of 14. Japan decreased by 6 when there was an expected increase of 3. And this is how much each region likes me at the moment. Okay. North America, what news do we have of the last 5 years? Advanced drilling techniques researched. Coal is no longer used in industry. Wow. That happened quicker than I thought it would. We have a coal-free industry in 5 years. I thought that was going to be like 15 plus. El Nino disrupts monsoons. Greatly reduced rainfall. Expanding Hadley cells decreases the rainfall. Farmlands suffer topsoil troubles. North American tech is booming. There's ongoing objections to the Tobin tax. Peace reigns in North America. Unstable climate brings storms, and drilling advances spur fossil fuel production. Latin America, El Nino disrupts monsoons, expanding Hadley cells, decrease rainfall. Grasslands management. We've increased the agricultural yields and reducing emissions. Latin America has ratified the World Forests Treaty. Their tech is advancing slowly. They're peaceful, and they have storms. Europe, we still have our undersupply resources, advanced drilling breakthrough. Environmental campaigners in Europe are praising the GEO for their swift progress in reducing emissions. Europe signs up to the carbon trading scheme. Respiratory illnesses are on the rise in Europe thanks to air pollution from transportation and power stations burning fossil fuels. Medics report a surge in cases of asthma, pneumonia, lung and heart disease. Respiratory allergies are also up. Ongoing objections to the Tobin tax. Peace reigns. Strong tech advance and spurring fossil fuel productions. Northern Africa, all bad. El Nino disrupts monsoons. The tech is advancing at a crawl. Peaceful protests targeting the GEO. Recriminations follow flooding. Assuming similar in Southern Africa. Peaceful protests. Tech advancing at a crawl. And waiting list deadly. In Russia, there's some undersupplies, hospital issues, ongoing objections to the Tobin tax, peace reigns, recriminations to follow flooding, and the tech is on the rise. Middle East, could flash floods have been prevented? Residential crowding causes unrest. Situation stabilizing, but their tech is advancing at a crawl. In India, we have air pollution problems, water stress, tech advancing slowly, protests against me, and storms. China has agricultural resources undersupplied. Their tech is advancing slowly. El Nino disrupting monsoons. Peaceful, though. And we have storms and urban sprawl. In South Asia, dangerous deforestation averted. Grassland management, peace. They have ratified the World Forest Treaty. Their tech is advancing at a crawl. Wildfires sweeping across South Asia like looking into hell. Oceania, ecologists praise the GEO. More objections to the Tobin tax, peace is reigning, and strong tech advance. In Japan, we have undersupply, advanced drilling. We're being praised. There's El Nino, ongoing objections to Tobin tax, peace, strong tech, unstable climate, and we have another advance in fossil fuel productions. Global oil pricing peaking, rise in Arctic methane reported, and our global population. So going to Northern Africa, first thing we're going to do, wildlife conservation. We don't want to kill wonderful animals. And we're providing security assistance because they are very unstable. Southern Africa, same thing. In the Middle East, we are providing security assistance to their very unstable. India is even, so what we're going to do is we're going to fund their law enforcement, and Let's see, what's India's population? Okay. So with the amount of children that they have, and their workforce, and a small amount of elderly. Well, hello! First thing in chat, what is up? Not much. Or at least not much that I can talk about. Hopefully I can in a few days. But good news on the horizon. We are playing Fate of the World, fighting global climate change. We're going to mandate a one-child policy in India. Let's see how that works out. Would that work well in China? Not really. Their working age is 14. Oh, hey, I didn't expect that. 91% of the Chinese population are literate? Not to be offensive to Chinese people, I didn't know. I know that rural China is not well off at all. And that's where most people live, according to my understanding. China, let's get you to do a coal-free industry. We're already committing you to renewables. But, I mean, if we look at coal, yeah, that's a lot of coal that they use. Let's try and reduce that to 0. And let's see, they've got a little bit of water stress. And, yeah. Let's try and make a coal-free China. In North America, let's get them... Let's have them add to the cap and trade of carbon emissions. So that is all of the agents we have right now. But we still have the 782, and we've got to spend as much of it as possible because it goes away. So let's add 2 to the places that don't currently have 2. That brings us down to 482. Probably going to hire some more at some point, but not yet. Let's look at their stats. Let's see how we can best help here in Latin America. It looks like their development is doing pretty well. I mean, 89% literacy. It could be better, but it could be much, much worse. They have very little coal. We're already working on this forest change. They have almost no water stress. I don't know if the food price per capita, if we want that high or low. We want their emissions low, though. Let's give them a regional welfare office. Let's look at Russia's stats. Let's have them commit to renewables. The Middle East, very unstable. Let's give them Environmental Protection Office. That's going to really help avert future disasters. And they're one of the places that are least able to handle that. Let's go for a quick win here in South Asia and make their industry free of coal. And Oceania. Yeah, let's do the same here. Let's do a couple quick wins on with coal. And Japan, we're going to give you an environmental protection office. We have $297 left. It's up North America and Europe. Basically, the thing is North America and Europe are the wealthiest areas. So they're going to be disproportionately monetarily affected. But the argument for that is the United States, for example, houses something like 4% of the world's population and uses a quarter of its fossil fuel emissions. So, you know, there is that. We are going to let's give them an environmental protection office. And same thing with Europe, because North America's having topsoil trouble, so we can fix that next turn. Oh, someone left. Oh no. I wonder, did they tire of the politics I'm trying to stay out of with this game? Possibly. Let's recruit... Let's recruit a new person in India. We'll try and better India. 18.2% of Indians are sick. Their literacy is 61%. So I think the most important thing is give them broader access to education, which also might help with the birth rate issues that we're having with India. India is having lots of babies. And less humans means less resources spent, giving those humans excellent lives. Okay, going on to turn 2. And let's see. The world is having a 1% problem with oil. Last of the summer ice. In the summer, the Arctic Circle is now virtually ice-free. Species are in crisis. Communities are in turmoil, and the seas are rising. The global population grew by 192 million, less than it has been. And 2 million people died from climate change. Smart grids breakthrough. Scientists in North America have announced the perfection of smart grid technology, allowing energy demand and supply to be intelligently balanced across the region. Wonderful. Let's see. Emissions in North America decreased by 7% versus an expected 2% rise. Latin America, a decrease of 9%, below the expected 0. Europe decreased by 16%, below the expected decrease of 8. North Africa increased by 7, which is still less than the expected of 10. Southern Africa increased by 23%, with an expectation of 18. Russia, a decrease of 3% versus even keel was expected. Middle East increased by 7 versus the expected 11. India increased by 18%, exceeding the expected increase of 16. China, an increase of 10, exceeding the expected increase of 8. South Asia, though, decreased by 20 when there was an expectation of a 22% increase. That's huge. Oceania increased by 10%, exceeding the expected decrease of 2%. And Japan decreased by 2%, exceeding the expected decrease of 6%. And most people like me just fine. The world news, we've got an oil shortage, last of summer ice, and global population is now 7.777 billion. North America, we have agriculture and industry resources undersupplied. Oil again. Ecologists are praising me. More topsoil trouble. North America signs up to carbon trading scheme. Tech is booming. They keep disliking the Tobin tax, and there's a breakthrough with smart grids. Latin America, more oil problems. Flash floods, could they have been prevented? Deforestation slows. Praising the GEO, their tech is advancing slowly, but that's still higher than expected. Methogen vaccines for livestock. Sir, Latin America has instituted mandatory methanogen vaccines for all livestock, yielding significant reduction in agriculture methane emissions. I don't know how big of a problem agricultural methane emissions are, but I do know it's good for them to be lower. And there's more peace. Europe, more oil problems. The world has oil problems at the moment. They're praising me for my swift progress on reducing emissions. Europe is slashing their emissions. They still dislike the Tobin tax. Everyone dislikes the Tobin tax. Everywhere that I have it, I'm going to have ongoing objections. There's peace, there's strong tech advance, and storms. Whoops. Northern Africa. Oil issues. GEO reservations established. Their unique ecosystems and species are under our protection. They're also up to even from their unstable. Their tech is advancing at a crawl, and they're peacefully protesting against me. They want us to up their quality of life. Southern Africa, austerity day. The rich are rich enough. They want to be the not rich people want to be rich. We've got more reservations, healthcare crisis, flooding, and slow tech development. Russia, healthcare problems. They don't like the Tobin tax. Yay for us being awesome in our admissions. Their tech is on the rise. There's storms. Middle East is now stable. Look at that. We solved the problems of the Middle East. All it took was creating and funding and deploying a international military force. Peace reigns in the Middle East. I hope to someday hear that. And their tech is advancing at a crawl. India. Dry year, water stress, one-child policy enforced in India. It's highly unpopular. Peace is reigning. They've got problems with smog and storms. So let's look at life expectancy has gone up. That's good. Let's take a look. Okay, so basically their percentage of children, I believe, has gone, yep, down by 2.8%. Elderly has gone up by 1.1, and the workforce has gone up by 1.7. Are more people getting sick? Slightly more. Unemployment, is that... I wonder if that's going up or not. There's a lot of things that India needs. We're gonna give them an environmental protection office, and I know I generally go through the news first, but I just wanted to make sure I did that. Yep, we've got more oil problems. They now have advanced drilling. Their tech is advancing slowly. They are replacing their coal. They haven't reached coal free yet, but they're heading that way. There's a year of severe drought. There's topsoil troubles, pollution, but there's peace. There's peace in China. Coal is being replaced in South Asia. Dangerous deforestation averted. Deforestation is slowing. It has halved. There's a dry year, El Nino, but their ecologists are happy. There's methogen vaccines. There's peace and slow tech growth. Oceania is coal-free. El Nino, more objections to Tobin. Peace, strong tech, and unstable climate brings storms. Japan. Minor drought increases fire risk in Japan. Wildlife threatens Japan forestry. So let's look at their water stress is 17%. We're going to do drought, erosion, wildfire defenses in Japan. Oceania. See, the problem with capping trade and cap and trade carbon emissions, especially in Oceania, there's a really big chance of spiraling unemployment. So that's why I'm not just doing that all over the place. Let's switch their transport to electricity, which is going to lower their dependence on oil. Speaking of oil, we're going to the Middle East now. We're going to do wildlife conservation, and they've got a water stress of 27%. Let's do a water management program to just try and alleviate that issue. In Europe, what's Europe's issues at the moment? They have water stress. Okay, but that is predicted to go down. Let's subsidize biochar. Incentivize people to turn biomass into charcoal and blend the product into soils. Yeah, that's also going to help with emissions. Northern Africa. They're advancing at a crawl. Let's give them a regional healthcare or regional welfare office, and their water stress is 30%, and that's predicted to peak there at the moment. So let's give them a water management program. Southern Africa, I'm going to do that. They don't have the water stress problems that Northern Africa is having. So this is where we start changing what we're doing in the various parts of Africa. Because we can. Let's protect their land, soil, and forests. Latin America. What is Latin America? Okay. Um, 14% sick. I think they would be most beneficial to have a medical welfare program. And North America. North America, we're going to give drought, erosion, and wildfire defenses. Going to Russia, buying someone in Russia, buying another agent in Russia. We're going to give them a regional welfare office. We're at 552. Let's commit Japan to the cap and trade carbon emissions, which we're eventually going to have the entire world doing that, but we're starting with the richer areas first. Which includes Oceania. Just trying to figure out what I want to do. Okay, so their population is rising in South Asia, emissions are falling, GDP is up. Oceania, all of that's up. All of that's down in Japan. In China, it's all up. So let's commit China to the cap and trade carbon emissions. Russia emissions are down, but GDP and population are both up. The Middle East, all of that is up. India, it's all up. Southern Africa, it's all up. Northern Africa, it's all up. Europe, it is all down. North America, population is up, but emissions and GDP are down. Latin America, population and GDP are up, emissions are down. So North America, let's give them a regional welfare office so we can start buoying their GDP. And let's do the same here in Japan. We still have 162. I need to see how I'm doing in the world. Where... Let's put another agent here in Southern Africa. So we can... Let's commit Southern Africa to renewables. They should be pretty good. Potential, wind potential's high, solar potential's massive, small hydro, small geothermal, moderate tidal. Yeah, so they should be good with that. And then let's unlock another thing here. We just won't have the money, but we'll have the agent for next time. Okay, so our predictions are falling for the first time. Temperature rise of 1.4 degrees since 1750, increased by 0.1. So we're keeping it to 0.1 increase for every 5 years. Global oil production is on the rise. Global population is growing by less. Almost everybody went higher than expected. North America still decreasing more than they are expected to. Latin America has decreased, just not as much. Same thing with Europe. Northern Africa increased more than expected. Southern Africa increased by expectation. There must be some rounding error. India increased more than expected. Middle East increased more than expected. Russia decreased by less than expected. China increased by more than expected. Okay, so South Asia was even keel, but they expected a decrease of 25%. Oceania increased, wow, by 118%. Wow. And Japan decreased a lot more than expected. Okay. Gas production has peaked, but oil production is back on the rise. So, in North America, anti-drought efforts have calmed North America. Our ecologists are praised. Emissions are being slashed. Tech is booming. They don't like the Tobin tax, and there's flooding. Why didn't I stop the flooding? Crop management is continuing in Latin America. Deforestation is still slowing. We're being praised. Gas drilling contaminates the water table. The healthcare program is underway and is doing well. The tech is on the rise. Peace is reigning, and there's storms that cut off parts of Latin America, killing whole families. That sucks. Ecologists are praising me. Europe is heading in the right direction with their emissions. They don't like the Tobin tax. They've researched smart grids, and they've got a strong tech advance. There's Austerity Day protests across Northern Africa, and their tech is advancing at a crawl. They're back to unstable, but we've got a lot we can do. Yikes. More austerity, El Nino, yay, grassland management, health crisis fears, their tech is advancing at a crawl. There's more Hadley cells increasing, the healthcare woes in Russia, Middle East, dry year, but it's continuing to be a peaceful time. India not doing well. But the one-child policy is still being enforced. Residential crowding causes unrest. That is what I'm trying to prevent here in India. Life expectancy went down a year, but their literacy is going up. population. Um, let's look at the break. No, not that breakdown. I want this breakdown. Children, there's less and less children, slightly more elderly, but a higher workforce. I think I'm going to let the one-child policy go about another 5 years. Yeah. China, what's happening in China? They have water stress. They're signing up to the carbon trading theme. Their tech is advancing slowly. Coal is continuing to be replaced. Peace is reigning. There's a lot of smog. South Asia. Coal is being replaced. Deforestation is slowing. Farmer frustration over forest legislation. Our fear is failing to grow enough food to feed everyone. Peace is reigning. There's a rice management program going on. Better rice cultivation now offers opportunities for emission reductions. Shallow flooding minimizes. Oh, minimizes. Okay. Methane generation from anaerobic conditions while switching to sulfate fertilizers results in higher yields. And then their tech is advancing at a crawl. Oceania is having a dry year. We're being praised. Oceania has begun implementing a wide-scale electrical transport infrastructure. Consumers are being incentivized to switch to non-combustive transport. They've also signed up to the carbon trading scheme. Their tech is booming. They don't like the Tobin tax. And they have wildfire issues. Anti-drought efforts calm Japan. We're being praised. They've signed up to the carbon trading. Smart grids researched and strong tech advance. Okay. So, their GDP is going up, their emissions are going down, their population is going down. But here's the thing. They have 1% of the world's population and have 2% of the emissions. Let's try and change that. What was the news in Japan again? Good news. Let's give them storm, flood, and coast defenses, as well as protecting land, soil, and forests. In Russia, we are going to do a medical program. I don't see that. Oh, there it is. Medical welfare program. We're just gonna get Russia to have better medical care. They have 2% of the population and 5% of the emissions. Let's see, what are the issues here? We have more drought. Drought, erosion, and wildfire defenses, and let's give them enhanced water infrastructure, because their water stress is still at 27%. It's predicted to slowly trend downward, but not very well. Emergency housing relief here in India. And the problem is India has lots and lots of problems. Okay, Southern Africa, let's check the news again. Healthcare, that is one of our biggest problems right now. Northern Africa. Northern Africa just wants to be richer. They've got an unemployment of 16% and 19% sick. So let's do what job sharing initiative. Let's better their medical welfare, and let's help with education. Europe's doing good. North America. What are the North American issues again? Right, the GDP is going down. Nine 9% unemployment, 12% sick. I can imagine a one-child policy in North America, how well that wouldn't go over. Let's protect land, forest, and soil, and let's reduce the working week. America, in particular, has a ridiculously long work week compared to the rest of the world. So let's combat that. In Latin America, we're going to put a program for higher education. In the Middle East, we're going to give them a regional welfare office. And South Asia, let's give them an environment protection office. 148 left. Let's recruit one more person in China to let's have them commit to deforestation, ending deforestation. And going back to here and looking at deforestation stuff. North America is at a small, or decent size increase. Latin America has done wonderful at halting their decrease. So has South Asia. Both Africas are still going down. Most of the world is still going down. We definitely still have a net loss, but it's a lot smaller of a net loss than when we started 15 years ago. World headlines. Predicted temperatures are going up a little bit. Emissions are going up. We've hit 1.5 degrees of warming. Global population going up by 202 million. Scientists in Japan have announced that carbon capture and sequestration technology is ready for implementation. Cool. Let's see. North America, 0% decrease. They expected a minus 15. Latin America, plus 4 with an expectation of minus 5. Europe, minus 1 with an expectation of minus 10. North Africa, plus 13 when expected plus 9. Southern Africa, plus 22 with an expectation of plus 16. India, plus 29 with an expectation of plus 15. Middle East, plus 13 versus plus 9. Russia, plus 144 with an expectation of minus 1. China, plus 11 versus, plus 11 with an expectation of plus 10. South Asia, plus 18 with an expectation of plus 0. Oceania, minus 61 with an expectation of plus 54. That is amazing. And Japan, minus 5 with an expectation of minus 15. Okay. We've got the news. North American news. Grassland management's doing good. Heading in the right direction with emissions. They've got a shrinking population. Ratifying World Forest Treaties. North America rejects reckless reduced hours law. Okay. So that didn't work well. Like I said, it wouldn't in the real world. Deforestation is slowing in Latin America. Healthcare program is underway. And actually, it is good enough that I'm not going to be using that card anymore. Cool. Their tech is on the rise. Organic soil restoration program. And peace. Europe is heading in the right direction. Tobin tax they don't like. Strong tech advance. Northern Africa, healthcare program is underway. Job sharing initiative makes progress. The tech is at a crawl. There's flooding. Situation stabilizing. There's increased social stability due to concerted political efforts coupled with strong economic performance. Deforestation is slowing in southern Africa. There's a healthcare program underway. Methogen vaccines. There's peace. Their tech is still advancing at a crawl. And there's still deadly waiting lists, which we are working on. El Nino is disrupting monsoons in Russia. Healthcare program is underway. There's massive wildfires. What is the GEO good for? Asks Russia. Okay. In the Middle East, anti-drought efforts calm. Peace reigns. Their tech is advancing at a crawl. India, there's a healthcare program underway. They're experiencing water stress. Their advances at a crawl. The one-child policy is still enforced. Peace is reigning. Sick environment fueling cancer rise. Smog turns city centers into places of death. They still have a rising population, though. That's ridiculous. Carbon cash to good cause. They're experiencing water stress. They're ratifying World Forest Treaty. Their tech is advancing slowly. Coal is continuing to be replaced. The grassland is doing better. And they've got problems with smog. South Asia is now coal-free. They've got a cropland management program. They're slowing their deforestation. Forests are being saved. Peace is reigning. Their tech is advancing at a crawl. And there's urban sprawl. Oceania is having a dry year. Electric transport uptake is positive. They're rapidly adopting electric transport solutions. I am under scrutiny there, though. They're slashing their admissions. They've got smart grids and there's strong tech advance. Japan is doing better. They love us. Heading in the right direction. Japan welcomes GEO defense measures. Yes. We've made Japan safer from storms. Set up the chain of capture, transport, and ultimate storage of carbon. Delivers an 80% reduction in fossil fuel energy and industry emissions over 50 years. Makes systems up to 40% less efficient. Let's do that. Let's get another person here in Russia. Let's do something that Russia will definitely like. We'll give them an environmental protection agency. North America. We'll give them... We're going to have them start switching over to electric. Latin America, where we're doing very well. Ooh, we could now have a Tobin tax in Latin America because they're doing so well. Let's actually start... Let's have vegetarianism on the rise in Latin America. Going to the Middle East. We're going to protect their lands. We're going to commit to renewables. And let's have a medical welfare program. In India, let's promote higher education. South Asia, wildlife conservation and storm, flood, and coastal defenses. 239. Annual emissions. We're doing pretty good for annual emissions, I think. HDI is really high in most of the world and is low right where we expect it to be low. Everyone has a green outlook. Everyone is stable or better. Oil and gas needs. We're going to keep trying to slowly wean them off. Oil and gas recoverable. Still have a lot, actually. Coal. China's still using lots and lots and lots and lots of coal, and India is using a fair amount. And coal extracted. Agriculture. GDP is pretty high. Actually, Southern Africa. Oh no, the Middle East has the highest. No, China. China has 2 trillion in agriculture GDP. Local food, dollars per capita. So I think we're lower is better with that. I'm not sure. Forest changes. Wow, Russia is having huge issues with that. If it weren't for Russia, I think we would be just tipping into the positive there. And climate refugees, there are none yet. But let's recruit another person in Russia. So we can protect their land, soil, and forests. In North America, let's give you one more also so you can... Oh. We don't have enough. I was going to have them bid for the GEO headquarters. Do we have a rather cheap thing that we can do? Sure, let's do wildlife conservation here in North America. 2045. Still going up. Arctic methane release worsens. As Arctic temperatures soar, more and more methane is being released from seabed deposits and wetland anaerobic bacteria. Global gas production is rising. Ooh, the global population, though, grew by less than it has for a while. Scientists in Japan have announced the commercial implementation of fourth-generation fast breeder nuclear power reactors, allowing for much greater efficiency in uranium usage. Excellent. North America decreased by 3%, below the expected 0. Latin America +2 versus +3. Europe, it's about equal. Northern Africa +13 when they're supposed to be +12. Southern Africa +11 when with an expectation of +18. Russia -57 versus expectation of +59. Middle East doing a little bit better. India fairly better. Okay, so Oceania is still decreasing, but they expected to have a higher decrease. South Asia's doing good. China is about where it's supposed to be, and they have the highest emissions in the world. In fact, let's still dislike to hell in Russia. Okay, so I think overall emissions are still going up, which is an issue. News in North America. They now have CCS. Electric transport infrastructure progress is good. Reservations are established. We have scrutiny here. Methogen vaccines heading in the right direction. Their tech is booming. They're still hating the Tobin tax. And we're initiating reforestation. Latin America, slowing down deforestation. We are laying out a road to a meat-free future. Grassroots politics going green in Latin America. Okay, because there's still issues with emissions growing. Their tech is on the rise. Optimum agriculture emissions reductions achieved. They're peaceful, and we're having issues with storms. In Europe, Europe's heading in the right direction. And there's just storm issues here. Northern Africa, healthcare program is still underway. They're experiencing water stress again. Their tech is still advancing slowly. Southern Africa, deforestation was halted there. El Nino has been reduced. Healthcare program is still underway. Still peaceful. Issues with storms. Russia's having topsoil troubles. Grasslands management. Healthcare program is going. They don't like the Tobin tax still. And peace. They're questioning our value. And their tech is on the rise. And okay, so basically we're having issues now because emissions are still rising. Healthcare program is underway. Severe drought was no match for us. They've ratified the World Forest Treaty. Their tech is going slow. And India has essentially all of the problems. So I was going to cancel the one-child policy, but they're now... population is now declining in India. Life expectancy's gone down a lot, though. Yikes. I'm going to cancel the one-child policy here so we can work on other things in India. Air pollution is bad in China. Carbon cash to good cause. They have water stress. Coal is being replaced. Their tech is on the rise. They have outrage with their emissions still rising. South Asia, there's a lot of anti-GEO campaign at the moment, but their deforestation is slowing. We have reserves. There's pollution. Okay, the electric transport policy as successful as possible. Wonderful. There's only 26 million people in Oceania. What on earth? Wow. Okay. And what's happening in Japan? Excellent. Carbon capture kicks off in Japan. Deforestation was halted. They're heading in the right direction emissions-wise. Their tech is booming. Wonderful. Okay. So Russia, we're still disliked here in Russia. Let's give them drought, erosion, and wildfire defenses. That should make us more popular. Let's enroll more people in education here in the Middle East. In North America... let's give them storm, flood, and coast defenses. Let's have Latin America join the cap and trade carbon emissions. And South Asia join that. And let's do that. Let's give Oceania a welfare office so we can actually give them a population boom. China. We need more people in China. Let's have them switch to electricity. Let's take a look at their emissions. It's energy. Okay, their coal... What is their coal used for, mostly? Industry. Okay, so most of our problems in China are they're still using a lot of coal. Let's give them industrial carbon regulations. Yeah. North America, let's commit you to renewables. Let's protect Europe's land, soil, and forests. What's the jobless rate? The unemployed is 0, so let's cancel the job sharing initiative. Let's move Northern Africa. Oh, never mind. We don't have money anymore. Okay. 2050. What's going on in 2050? Still rising. Global gas production is falling. Oil production is falling. Global population only rose by 12 million. We're at 8.3 billion people, but 90 million people died. Holy cow. North America did good. Latin America did fine. Europe, ouch. Northern Africa, yikes. India's starting to do better. China's doing good. Russia's doing poor. Poor. Very poor for Oceania. Okay. North America. How am I liked in North America? They now have 4th generation nuclear. Cropland management. Electric transport uptake is positive. Gas drilling contaminates the water table. They're slashing emissions. Tech is booming. They welcome the defense measures. Reforestation is continuing. And they're getting more nuclear weapons. Okay, so Latin America is now having issues at the moment with coal. Deforestation is still slowing. There's an emissions outrage. They're having droughts. Shift away from meat continues. Encouraged by subsidies on arable production, farmers in Latin America continue to focus their efforts away from meat production. There is disruption, certainly, says Farming Minister Gomez, but we are confident in this undertaking. And there are storms. In Europe, another coal problem. CCS is researched. Europe is heading in the right direction. Their tech is booming. They're starting to dislike me, and they have a wildfire. Northern Africa healthcare program is underway. That's good. There's storms and wildfires. Healthcare is still going good. Organic soil, reforestation, but their tech is still slowly going. Anti-drought efforts calm Russia. Their deforestation is slowing. Their healthcare program is underway. They have methogen vaccines. They're questioning my value. In the Middle East, I stopped a slow drought, but they're having storm issues. India, still having air pollution problems. There's lots of stress, water-wise. China. China's tech is on the rise. Coal is being replaced by grid electricity. There's progress with their electric transports. Major energy efficiency drive in industry. Their reforestation policy is going well. South Asia is doing okay. They've halted deforestation and they've reached optimum agriculture emissions. Okay. And there's urban sprawl issues. Oceania still going down population-wise. And Japan is doing well. CCS is making a real difference. They're heading in the right direction. Their tech is booming. And they're starting to reforest. Let's check out their forest area annual change. Okay, so Latin America is almost ready to start reforestation. North America is doing great. Europe and Northern Africa aren't doing well. The Middle East is doing eh. India's a minor up. China is doing almost as well as North America. Russia's doing a lot better than it was. Japan's going up. Yeah, so forests are doing well. Let's check about area changed. Right? Or no, population change. So it's stable in North America and South America. Declining in parts of Africa, stable in other parts and growing in others. Stable in Europe, declining in the Middle East. Stable with some declining and some growing in India. And then China is stable to small uptick and similar with Japan. Let's check out the temperature change. Yikes. I don't like this giant bit. And earth change. Okay. So it looks like in the entire year you can almost sail across the entire Arctic in an ice-free zone all year round. That's not good. North America. We're gonna subsidize. We're gonna do a water management program here. Going to Northern Africa, where we can do a lot. Going to enhance their water infrastructure. Drought, erosion, and wildfire defenses, and storm and coast defenses. Okay, let's go to Russia. Let's have them join the cap and trade. Middle East, we're doing okay. India, we're doing okay. China's still chugging away. Let's give a regional welfare office here in South Asia. And Oceania, we're actually going to do a baby boom. So I have been recording for quite a while. I'm going to end this here. And I don't know if I'm going to come back to this game. I don't think so. I just wanted to do a little something different today. And I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you tomorrow.